Okay, so today Nom Recovery is going to be, Nom Academy is going to be on, I'm going to call it the 1 million recovery words. So I'm going to try to simplify the process of recovery. So ਅਸੀਂ recovery ਨੂੰ ਥੋੜੀ simple ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ. Basically, people ask me all the time, or they say things like, oh, I went to like 5 treatment centers, I didn't get sober, and then the 6th one made me get sober. I liked their team approach, I liked their this, I liked their that. कुछ चीज़ पसंद आई treatment center विच फिर मैं sober हो गया. And what thereby implying that the other treatment centers didn't work, their approach didn't work, wasn't useful. And I'm just going to sort of change that a little bit. Because you know what, every treatment center will have like 100 people that say, this place saved my life, and 100 people that say, this place is useless, and no one should ever go there. Including Nam, by the way. Every treatment center, every counselor will have the people that say, this counselor is the best counselor, and then a whole bunch of people that say nothing. Bekariya. They'll say stuff like that. And so I'm just going to explain why that is, at least from my view, and if I offend you, I apologize. So, recovery is really this simple. So, you have a certain number of recovery words that need to be spoken to you over the course of your lifetime. And at some point, you hit the threshold of sobriety. So, let's say it's like 1 million. So you go to a treatment center, or you go to your family start talking to you, and you kind of have this like bar that you need to sort of you have all these words you need spoken, and then you go on the journey of recovery. You talk to Sally, your friend, she says something that makes you, oh, yeah, that's helpful. But then you go and drink and drug and you do all this stuff, and then, a couple of months later you meet Bob, and Bob says something nice to you, and then you kind of, get a bit more, like, koi lafz bolde rehndhe te oh dil chale jande hai. But still not sober, and then you go to maybe your family doctor, they say some more stuff, you should stop drinking, it's bad for your liver. And then you kind of don't, and you keep drinking and doing that stuff, and then you maybe go to a treatment center, and all the while, so you're working, you're building the number of words said in a way that you can understand. And you start building. Sometimes you see someone, I saw someone yesterday, I said some stuff to them, they were really mad at me. I may never see them again, or I may see them in like 5 years. But even though that's true, maybe that added a little bit. And at some point, all of a sudden, and then at the very end you go to a treatment center. And you hit your threshold, you hit it. Yay! Smiley face. Sober! Employed. Happy. And then you say to yourself, oh, it's that last place, they got it. It's that counselor, it's that doctor, it's Dr. Gill. It's totally not Dr. Gill. It's Dr. So-and-so or something else, right? that sort of did it. But it's not how it works. Everyone added a part, and if it took you 7 treatment centers, without the first one that you think is useless and no good, you wouldn't have made it anywhere. This is what a journey is. So if you've been to 7 treatment centers, the first one was just as important, if not more important, than the last one. Because it's really simpler than that. Every person you meet, they fill your brain with recovery words. Little bit by little bit, you fill your brain, sometimes faster, sometimes slower. And as you do that, the bad stuff leaves you. And at some point, when you're all full of like these light, good things, you're good. Some things will make it faster. Yes, this is true. So, let's say you need 1 million words spoken to you to help you heal. But for every word that's spoken to you, not everything that someone says to you helps you. हर चीज जो कोई बोलता है, हर एक चीज अंदर दिल ते नहीं जानती. If you yell at somebody who's sensitive and soft, and you yell at them, it doesn't go in. If you're gentle and soft with somebody who's got a really thick skull, that's not a therapeutic word, that's just kind of like they're not very sensitive. And you speak to them softly and you whisper and nothing's going in. And you have a lot of work to do, lots of words. The end result is you need 1 billion words spoken to you in order to get to 1 million words that land in your heart and fill the void. I'm just making these words up, these limits up. I don't know. But like, let's say it's 1 billion words need to be spoken to you to achieve that 1 million. Right? How many, some farmers here, how many seeds you have to plant of wheat for every 1 seed that actually takes? Kinne kank? हर एक दाना उगदा? अच्छा जी? नहीं भी उगदे कुछ mostly ਆਪਾਂ ਕਾਫੀ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਉਗਦੇ ਆ. So, any farmer, you just go and you spray lots of seeds, right? How many of them actually make a plant? Not everyone. Not everyone. Yeah. Now, let's say you don't till you don't, like, let's say it's wheat. And you don't like to see, or let's say it's rice. One of the things about rice is you have to prepare the land. Yeah. It's got to be flat. Let's say you plant rice on like land that's like broken. Do as many of your seeds take? No. Some of them will. But you're going to have to plant way more seeds. Yeah, if land is not proper, then some seeds are outside and some is inside. Correct. So then, there's benefit to preparing the land, right? Yeah. Means less money spent on seeds. Seeds are expensive. So, if you do nothing and you say you hear 1 billion words and 1 million of them, it'll work. You'll hit sobriety. But only if you live long enough to hear 1 billion words. It's a lot of words. You might not live that long. Addiction is quite deadly. Problems are deadly. You might You might get there, but you might lose everything. You lose your family, you get divorced, everything, and then you get there. Which is okay if that's what happens, but, you know. But the point is that there's things we can do to our mind to increase the likelihood of success. So ਅਸੀਂ ਚੀਜ਼ਾਂ ਕਰ ਸਕਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਲਫ਼ਜ਼ ਦਿਲ 'ਚ ਪਹੁੰਚਦੇ ਆ. So more words enter our heart. What are some of those things? Well, if we can involve family into the process, a family, a wife that says I love you, that's worth, like, you know, if you turn the family from like you're a piece of crap, you're this, you're that, and they change, you know, every time you relapse, and they change to I know it's a disease, a bamaria. Relapse sometimes happens, sometimes. The answer is not to just hit you with a stick. The answer is get you back into the treatment. If you can change that family dynamic and create bonds of love and help the family understand and become patient. So if families become patient, maybe instead of 1 billion words, you just need 500 million. So 50%. That's pretty good. If you can create a safe home environment where the person is not homeless, so take away the homelessness, koi jagah de do aadmi nu rehan vaste, jehda koi jagah nahi hegi. Feed him or her, make them feel. Maybe you can take that 500 million and make it 250 million. Still a lot of words, but it's a lot less words that need to be spoken to you. More things will hit. If you can work on, if you can engage in a self-therapy practice, and learn, for example, how to pray, and harness that energy and do subconscious systems and therapies to kind of heal, maybe that number goes down to 50 million. If you can learn how to meditate, you know, maybe that number goes down to 25 million. Maybe if you get some therapy, talk to some counselor, that number goes down to 5 million. Doesn't go to 0. But can you see how it's going to take less time? Because the land is going to be properly prepared for the planting of the crop. Less words wasted, less time wasted. The problem with treatment today is too much time wasted. Too much energy spent making drama out of what is really a simple relapse process. An addicted person early in recovery will have relapses. If they're early, if they haven't gone deep, if their mind is really disturbed, if their family, anyone you talk recovery to, they're going to have relapses. But I spent time talking to a doctor once who was like, this person is relapsing too much. And I was like, come on. They've relapsed twice. That's pretty good. That person's doing good now. Like, if we take the time But I didn't yell at that doctor. I just kind of gently, patiently explained that it's a process. It takes 1,000,000 words, wherever they're sent. And if we do some prep work, जैसे तैयार करते हैं दिमाग नूं, ते remember, addiction doesn't affect just a person, it affects a family. It affects a community. Addiction doesn't affect one person, it affects a lot of people. And so the solution doesn't rest with one person. Addiction, परिवार ਨੂੰ affect करता, community ਨੂੰ affect करता. So एक आदमी कोले नहीं है, जो एक आदमी ठीक भी होता, if that one person tries to get better without any attention, they need 1,000,000,000 words. And at any relapse, they could die. At any relapse, they could go to jail. At any relapse, कोई खराब काम हो सकता, death हो सकती. Nowadays, opioids are very toxic. Any relapse, you can get fatal overdose. And you could be like, maybe you're at like 80 million, or maybe you're like 800,000 words. Overdose, have a slip, bad batch of fentanyl, done. You were so close, but you didn't get there. And if you don't get over the 1,000,000 line, the wounds are gonna still be there. This is all in relationship to early recovery. Okay? Once you get there, you have to stay there. Okay? Once you get there, it's not like you're over the hump and you stay happy. You gotta work to maintain that. Without that, you're gonna kind of just come back down. And down here, you're gonna be unhappy again. It won't happen. If you stop all your self-therapy, you're here and you stop self-therapy, there's a video, the 4 stages of relapse. You enter spiritual, stop self-therapy, you get your spiritual relapse, your emotional relapse, your mental relapse, and then your physical. It puts you below the line. And now you have to make it up again. The longer you let it go, you're falling. Does it take more time to climb a mountain or to fall off a mountain? केड़ा ज़्यादा time लगता है? पहाड़ चढ़ना या डिगना? It takes more time to fall? Yeah, you gotta go up. But you can drop 50 feet in like a couple of seconds. But climbing 50 feet takes time. So people, they like, oh, you relapse, so what? It's a big deal to me. If someone's been sober for like 3 weeks, and they have a 1-day slip, every day they're slipping, they're falling 54 more feet. And we're going to have to do the 1,000,000 word thing again. The longer you let relapse go uninterrupted, the further you fall, and then you got to build it up again. So relapse is quite serious. I take it very seriously. This is where I struggle with sort of the purely harm reduction approach, because it's cool if they don't want recovery. But if someone's relapsing all the time, they're bringing themselves lower and lower. And so what we want to do with early recovery, harm reduction, is we want to keep people safe and offer them a way up at every step. And many people, they actually will take that if it's offered, and if it's offered in the right way and at the right frequency. So I won't go too far into that. So I don't talk about harm reduction. I talk about early recovery. Not pushing people onto methadone who don't want to be on methadone. Just support them. Give them what they need. Give them needles so they don't get, HIV and stuff. And that's good. But always offering them, hey, do you want to go up the road? Do you want to do this? Do you want to do that? Because if they want to get to recovery, it's going to take 1,000,000 words. You know, while you're doing harm reduction, what about prepping their families? Prepping the system, ready to take them when they are ready. This is usually where my attention is. When they've gone down the path of relapse, my attention focus goes to the family. I say, you know, okay, how can we help this person when they're ready to come back up? So, 1,000,000 words. Now, language. So if the person speaks like no English, well, you're going to have to speak like 1,000,000,000 words to them, because they're not going to get too much. This is one of the problems why NOM exists, is because there's like if you don't speak English, there's no treatment options for people who don't speak English. Unless they have like a lot of money and they can afford an interpreter to sit with them during treatment. I've seen that happen. It's like $20,000, $30,000, but it's expensive. But if you can take English and you can like incorporate a language that's specific to them, then your 1,000,000,000 words will go down, right? Then you can speak the right words that are heard in the right way. So, Jaisi Punjabi ch bolde hain, Jaisi Punjabi, and you want to speak the language of people's raised, like what they were raised at. All of the ego states encoding trauma, they're all programmed in the language of origin, whatever they were exposed to in the 0 to 11. So I meet like immigrants who are like really good English now because they've been in Canada for 40 years, but they're 60 years old. They're born Punjabi for the first 15 years. They got to get recovery in Punjabi too. It's important. The faster we get on that, or French, or Filipino, like Tagalog, or you know, some other language, we have to incorporate that language. And in this process, it takes a lot less words. The prayers and stuff. You know, like there's just an example. At NOM, we talk a lot about personalized recovery. So this is personalized recovery. When we make the effort recognizing no one's going to live long enough to get 1,000,000,000 words, but they might live long enough to get 1,000,000 words. So then we go about tailoring the recovery to what their system can hear. And so then we need to speak less to them. And so that's kind of the general topic today. Any questions or comments about that? It's very important that you speak to someone. If all they need is a whisper, you speak to them in a whisper. If they need to be yelled at, it's very important they be yelled at. We have to match, and the same person may need something else. One senior the other day was wailing inconsolably, "No one's listening, no one's listening, no one's listening. No one's listening!" Ah! Okay? And soft listening, it's okay. And she just keeps on wailing, no one's listening. But then the person was like, "Listen, we're listening, we're here." Oh, really? Oh, okay. We could have gone listening to that lady for 3 hours and she would have still been listening. You have to match the communication to what someone's ready and needs to hear. And it's not always kind, supportive listening. Sometimes it's hard. People in recovery can help people in recovery because they get that. Wake up, man! Stop doing this thing that's ruining your life. Sometimes you gotta be hard, you know? You gotta say it. Sometimes you gotta be soft. My experience, people need everything. Soft, hard. Soft, hard. And over time, they listen. So, personalized recovery, that's really what we're talking about if you want recovery to work. So, that's just, I think, the last thing that I'll say. Okay, good. Thank you, everyone. We'll leave it at that.